Hey kids, so we are going to review some of the texts that we have already read. So there was, I'm actually going to pull this down for you so you can see. So there was quite a few books that we have read already. There was, I'm going to scoop this way for you, Enemy Pie. There was Sophie's Masterpiece. There was Under the Lemon Moon and The Last Day Blues. And then there was one that Mrs. G read called The Can Man. She still has that book, otherwise I would display that for you. But there's an overall theme from all of these. And for each video, we did talk about them and what the theme was. The theme is right here. I'm going to pull it close for you to read. It's why is it important to be kind to others? You can make someone feel better by being kind to them. Showing kindness can make a difference in someone's life. Feels good when someone is kind to you. That's like a big essential question, and our theme is kindness for this. And I always think it's important to start the year with kindness. We are going to review one of my favorite books out of the section today, and that is Sophie's Masterpiece. I like this book so much because it doesn't give you a clear theme right away, and sometimes you really have to dig in deep to think about what it's talking about. In this book, in particular, Sophie the Spider spins works of art, trying to help the residents of the boarding house where she lives, but they swat her away. Finally, old and tired, she finds a home with a young pregnant woman. When Sophie learns that the woman is too poor to buy yarn to knit a blanket, Sophie creates a masterpiece for the newborn baby. What I thought was very unique about this book is that she is kind to others all the time, and people are mean to her all the time because of how she looks. And often we see that pattern in school. Sometimes kids can be bullies to others based on how they look. She continues to show her kindness and be nice to others, and eventually there is someone who is in need of her help and she helps them. Out of the kindness of her heart, she just is that good of a person or of a creature. She actually sews her last bit of life into this blanket for her friend, for her baby to be warm with. And I think that's so cool that she is willing to be so kind to others that she puts everything into it. The one thing that I wish I would have seen from this is Sophie have a reward from all the kindness that she did. But sometimes a reward isn't as clear as other rewards that you get. Sometimes just feeling good inside is enough of a reward for you, and that was enough for Sophie. A message from this book is don't be discouraged if the people you are trying to help reject your kindness. Appreciate others who are kind and be kind to them. Continue being kind to someone even if that kindness is not returned. Lock that into your brain. Be kind to others even if that kindness is not returned. That's really, really challenging to do. Not even challenged to do that today. We were able to read the text and come up with or talk about some questions throughout. However, I want you to go back and think about this book real quick. I'll page through it so you can kind of remember what she went through. See a lot of people afraid of her, shying her away, and then in the end, someone really nice to her. Sophie tries to make life beautiful for the humans in the boarding house. What does she do when they reject her efforts? Does anybody remember that? What do they do when they, or what does she do when they reject her efforts? notice she kind of politely moves on. It doesn't really take offense to it. Moves on to the next person. Even today, there's sometimes people I work with, or people that are my friends, or even Mr. Wolf. I'm being kind to them, and he rejects my effort of being kind. And it's not because they necessarily aren't kind. Sometimes your kindness comes off scary or weird, or sometimes they just don't know how to accept it. And you just have to politely say, okay, I tried my best, and move on. Um, I noticed that the illustrations in this story really showed a lot of feeling. I'm going to page to one of these in particular. And a lot of times in books, we use our eagle eye to really zone into a picture to see what they're feeling. They also use very good words to help explain it, but this picture shows exactly how terrified she was with how big her mouth was. I think it's important to always stop and look at the pictures because the author and illustrator work together to make sure that the pictures really make sense and it helps explain part of the book. There are books with only pictures, and you have to come up with a story. And I think that the goal for every illustrator is to be able to tell a story in just pictures and well, because it's just as important. Today, I want us to think beyond the text. So, especially in third grade, we're going to be coming up with write their questions, think and search, all the author and me questions, and thinking beyond the text. Thinking beyond the text is using what you already know and the book to think elsewhere. And that's one of our harder challenges that we have. So we're going to think beyond the text. When is one time that you and Sophie could relate to something? Think about that. Or one part in the story that you could relate to, using what you know and the story to think beyond. Think about that. Have you ever been kind to someone when they weren't kind to you? Have you ever done everything you can for someone that you feel like you're putting your whole life into it? And if so, think about that story and imagine it. How would you draw that picture? And what words would you use to describe it? It's important that we're always using everything we know about reading and writing and constantly thinking about them together. Today, I want you to think about how you would respond to this text. Okay? Mr. G is looking at in the door and he's laughing. Or right below this on Seesaw, I'm going to have you tell me about a time that you could relate to Sophie. Mr. G, do you want to say hi?
Sure.
Hello.
Hi. Who is this?
This is my class I'm recording.
Yes.
Yeah. But you guys are going to have to post that and how you can relate to her. And everybody can. And if you think you can't, you need to think harder. This story is a complex story, but it's easily relatable because there is a time when you were kind to someone. Okay? So that is what you have to do today. And if you have questions, please feel free to reach out.